Okay, have we got everybody here? Let's go. We've landed a big nasty fish here. We got some nasty people to deal with, real lowlifes, first division sleeves. I want you boys to go into this one with your eyes open. Okay, so let's take a look at some faces. First on screen, numero uno, Nick Hannibal Hopkins, or Slick Back Nick. He's a bad hombre, he's a back shooter, bag stealer, scumbag. When the chips are down, he's out of town. Slippery, sly, wears nice ties. Numero deux, Matt Green, top drawer punk, top of his form, and he's got plenty. All-round topper, but we all know what kind of stuff floats to the top. He needs flushing out. Numero dry, Mitch Simerson, heavyweight sense of humor, bent as his legs, bad as his own breath. Don't get stuck in a corner with this guy, you'll come unstuck. Numero next, Tight Pants 80 Brook, 10 songs to the dime, $10 to shut him up. Worth every cent. Let's take another look at him. He's evil. Numero last of all, Keith Meat Smith. Big on beef, small on charity. Smells like a buffalo with wind, and hey, looks just like one as well. Okay, you got the picture?
Hey, what's the rap, Chief?
Coming right to it. Now these guys work as a syndicate, calling themselves a selection committee. We figure they've been over-syndicating on gross negligence, corruption, malpractice, conspiracy, dereliction of duty, and in the case of Meat Smith, gross indecency with a Cornish pasty. We've cornered the whole stinking bunch of them in a bar up on the west side, and tonight we're going in for the kill. Okay, boys, let's tool up and hit the streets. Tonight's the night the selection committee gets selected. Let's go. What are you back?
Yes, sir.
Never mind that. Where have you got him hidden?
Don't tell him, Dad.
Down the stairs. Okay, you lot. Hold it right there. This is a raid. Hey! What's that? Where's Hopkins? Where's Hopkins? After him. He's not going to get far.
What are we going to do? It's the end of the line.
Come on, Matt. While Nick and Keith are running free, we've got hope.
When did Keith ever run free? I suppose we can always rely on Nick's quick thinking, strategic mind.
Okay, we're finished.
Not quite. I have a cunning plan. I once went to see a film with Richard Attenborough and Gordon Jackson.
No kidding. Did you get to sit between them?
It was called The Great Escape. The prisoners were so desperate to be free, they dug 3 tunnels. Tom, Dick and Harry.
We don't have a Harry, it has to be Tom, Dick and August. So how did they do it?
Well, they dug a hole in their mess and they hid the soil by stuffing it down their trousers so the Germans wouldn't get suspicious.
I'm not digging a hole in my mess and shoving it down my trousers.
Why not? Mark Atherton did. What happened next?
Well, the goalkeeper catches the ball and sort of like throws it into his own net.
Carry on, Mark.
Well, they escaped.
And?
They got caught again.
And?
They got shot.
Mark, have you ever seen a film called The Silence of the Lambs?
No, what happened?
Adrian, show him. Hang on, you guys. Loz is here.
Hey! Loz, have you got the book?
This is the book that records all the minutes of executive committee meetings. It contains information from the time when Mark Simerson was secretary and this selection committee was formed. It contains vital evidence which will surely clear the committee.
So, did you get the book?
Yes! Have you got the entry?
Yes!
Did you show the judge?
Yes!
Yay! So, will they release us?
Nope.
Yeah!
So why not? Surely it's not inadmissible.
It's illegible. Look, fellas, you can't just sit there and sulk all day. Come and sit over here. Hey, what have the police said?
Well, the police think we're guilty, but they can't prove it. What do you think?
I think you're guilty, but I can't prove it. Lost, we've got to get out of here. Any luck with bail? I could only find one. But I did have a whip round from the team.
What did we get?
John Farty had left his money in the car. Alan George didn't have any change. P. James left before I could get him. And Steve Lennon will pay next week.
Well, it looks like we're in trouble. 9 men down and Paul Lally into bat.
Yep, it's Hathersage without an umpire.
Or quick runs needed and meter bat.
Well, these things can't get any worse. They just got worse.
Nick, what have they done to you?
Oh my God! Your face, your body, it's a crime, it's an outrage. It's ketchup.
Yeah, they call me a McDonald's.
So they didn't touch you?
No.
No, well, forget the bit about the face and the body then, okay?
Okay, you two. The super wants to see you.
Hey, you don't say like that, son. It's super.
Oh,
Right.
super.
Aye, that's better.
We can make you talk, you know.
It's not making him talk that's the problem, it's shutting him up.
Less lip from you, Sonny.
Don't try to play the hard man. I don't know the meaning of the word fear.
Nick, there are lots of words you don't know the meaning of.
Look, why not save yourselves a lot of time and tell us what we want to know?
You think we'll just croak, just grass up our mates and spill the beans?
Let's face it, we've got you banged to rights.
No way, you've stitched us up like kippers.
Get real. It's an open and shut case.
No dice. Someone put the heat on and we're on a bum rap.
You better start listening to the word on the street, or it's a one-way ticket down the river for you
Sure.
guys.
And if we cooperate, you'll throw the big book at us down in Miss Justice City.
Only the guilty have anything to fear.
Yeah, but only the good die young.
Woe unto them that call evil good and good evil.
Evil to him that evil thinks.
Thinking is very far from knowing.
Knowing me, knowing you, aha, your turn.
You fools. You're playing games that have no rules. You're facing a force whose numbers are enormous and, as usual, you don't have a full side to face it. And your opposition are led by one who eats babies like you for breakfast.
Make that a late breakfast. I'm planning a bit of a lion tomorrow.
Yeah, save your words. We're not afraid of you. We've got someone out there who's risking life, limb and last orders to secure our defence. He'll not sleep until he's done. He'll not eat until he's finished. There's not a second that man is not crusading for truth and justice and the De La Salle way. And oh, when he comes back, there'll be weeping and gnashing of teeth.
And that's just for his socks.
I pity you, you poor fools. You know not what you do. OK, Sergeant, take him away and book him.
Sergeant, take him away.
Sergeant Bookham.
You can lock the door on those guys and throw away the key. They're doomed. Turn out the light. Hey, not that light. Hey, Sergeant. Hey, Sergeant, come back. Shane, come back, Shane. Bing.
Sorry, we're going down.
Nick, at last, I've got a chance to ask.
Yeah.
What about Jack?
It's bad news, I'm afraid. He can't defend us. He won't defend us.
Why not?
Because the prosecuting counsel, he says. Jack says he can never go into court with that man. He's the biggest, the best, the baddest barrister in the land. No judge can overrule him. No jury can refuse him. No witness can withstand him. When he shows his briefs, grown women quiver and grown men sigh. He's never lost a case. And even Jack says heaven can't hold against him. He's on the side of hell, and the devil pays his wages.
Who can be so grand, so mighty, so fearsome, that even Jack won't fight him?
You wouldn't believe it. It's Jack's twin brother, John.
Dum 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 dum. Loz, did you know about Jack? Why didn't you tell us?
I wanted you to have some hope.
Loz, sometimes a man has to stand naked before his destiny and take any blows that come his way. Never begging for mercy. Some people call it kismet.
Most people call it bondage, Jade. Look, guys, I'm sorry about the money, but I've got to go. I have got some letters of support, though. They may bring some rays of hope to you.
Hope so,
Good luck, guys. See you later.
Hey, Loz, thanks. And if we don't get out of this, if we go down, I like to think I speak on behalf of all the men.
Sure.
I'd like you to accept our apologies for the next 75 exec meetings.
Well said, Aid.
This one's from Dick.
Good old Dick.
Dear lads, just a note to keep you informed about the level of support for you in the outside world. That's nice. There isn't any. That's nice. The general feeling is that you've brought shame on the club and should be horsewhipped before being sent down for a good long stretch. Brackets, which might do Nick's back some good at least. P.S. I've enclosed a nail file. John Flaherty is sending a complete vanity case. That's nice. This one's from Vince Prince. How could you do this? You were my role models. You were my strength. You were my light in the dark days and dark nights. I looked up to you. I believed in you. I used to respect you. My God, that's sad.
Sad? Sad? It's tragic. He should be used to respect you. I don't know. The youth of today.
This one's from Alan. Dear lads. Blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah, blah. Yours sincerely. Blah, blah, blah.
Thanks again, Alan.
What are we going to do?
The only thing we can do. Cry.
Yeah.
Not yet. I've been in some pretty tight games, some pretty tight situations, as tight as this.
But you panicked.
And we lost. Okay, so I panicked and we lost, but...
I know what you mean, Matt, and I'm with you. Remember Agincourt? Remember Dunkirk? Remember Longston?
So we're playing for a losing draw?
That's right.
No. We're going to conduct our own defence. Well, why not? I've got 12 match subs that I forgot to give Tom. Let's pay bail and hightail it out of here. What about it? Let's get on the road and let's build a case for ourselves.
And remember the old club motto.
All for one and for all. Let's do this!
All rise for Miss Justice F. Carriage.
Where the hell's Adrian?
He thinks it's a 2:30 start.
Be seated. The accused will rise. In respect of the charges of gross negligence, corruption and dereliction of duty, how do you plead?
What about incompetence?
Of dereliction of duty and incompetence, how do you plead?
Not guilty on all counts. These charges are trumped up tissue of twaddle.
Who do you have to represent you in this case?
Your Honour, we need no preening barrister to plead for us. We shall represent ourselves. Our innocence will be both our counsel and our champion.
Can we wear wigs?
Silence in court!
I bags Perry Mason.
No, I backs Perry Mason. You can be Rumpole.
What time's lunch?
Good question. You can cross-examine.
But he's no good at exams.
Never mind, he can cheat. He never did you any harm.
Please can we establish the fact that you are conducting your own defence and that you are ready for proceedings to commence?
We are. Right. Shall we toss a coin, see who starts?
There will be no tossing in this court. The prosecution will commence its cross-examination. Proceed.
So could you describe to the courts the nature of your own particular unfortunate experience?
Yeah. Well, first off, they said the game was at Longston. So naturally that's where I went.
And what happened when you got there?
There was a bloody garden party on the cricket ground.
I see. So, what did you do?
Well, I rang one of them up. He laughed and called me a tosser and said the game was at Beechey.
So I presume you drove all the way back to Sheffield. And what was the situation when you got back to Beechey?
We'd got 13 men.
Was there a second team game?
Yeah, Chesterfield. They got 9 men.
So you went to Chesterfield?
No. The opposition at Beechey were short, so I played for them.
And whose idea was this?
Theirs.
And what kind of a game did you have for the opposition?
Well, I scored a ton. Took 8 wickets for 25, you know, usual stuff.
And who won?
They did.
Thank you. No further questions. Your witness.
How many tons have you scored?
1. That one.
And how many 50s?
A few.
How many exactly?
Oh, I couldn't say. 7, 8.
You can't remember?
Well, I'd have to think about it. There was,
Incredible!
no, there was Holmes,
the judge, the jury.
Baslow.
I dismiss you as totally and
Bakewell.
utterly incompetent.
No, there was
You can't remember?
Sheffield Collegiate.
No.
Carver.
You never scored Sheffield Collegiate.
I did.
You can't even remember Tom Bowling.
Parkhead.
Baslow, no, Parkhead.
Yeah.
That's in your head.
No, Parkhead.
It's all in your head.
It
You
was
never
a
scored
little
one
down
there.
the corner.
You all stories.
I did. The
You
Exiles
all stories.
scored a 50 for the Exiles against you lot.
never did.
Round the corner.
Silence in court!
I did.
Tell me, pray, are you Stephen Green of City Surveyors and De La Salle First Team?
Well, no, not exactly.
You mean you're not Stephen Green?
Oh yes, I mean I am Stephen Green.
You are Stephen Green, then perhaps you don't play for City Surveyors?
Oh, which I do. One of their finest players.
I'm sure you are. Perhaps then you don't play for De La Salle?
Oh yes, I do. It's just the first team bit that threw me. You see, I never know from one week to the next when I'm playing for the first team or the second team.
This sounds a deplorable state of affairs. Are you saying that you get swapped and switched and generally shoved from pillar to post week after week?
Exactly.
And who, would you say, is responsible for this totally gross behaviour?
The selectors, I suppose.
And do you see these people sitting in court today?
Yes, there they are.
Thank you. No further questions.
So, Mr. Sorry, what was the name again?
Mr. Green?
Yes. Well, quite frankly, I've never seen you before in my life.
Eh?
Yes, you heard me. I think you're an imposter, a plant, a fifth columnist, a usurper, a dissembler, a deceiver, an interloper. Have you ever seen this geezer before?
Nope.
Me neither. We wouldn't pick anyone to play for Surveyors anyway. I rest my case.
So tell me, how many matches did you play on tour this year?
5.
5. And how many matches actually took place on tour this year in total?
5.
How many rounds of drinks have you bought this year?
My lord, I object. The witness is having the piss taken out of him.
I agree, but I'll allow it. You will answer the question.
Perhaps I should refresh your memory. How many rounds of drinks have you bought this year?
5.
And when were these rounds purchased?
On tour.
And, pray tell, who were the beneficiaries of this largesse?
They were.
Thank you. No further questions.
Mr. Lally, would you say there was anything corrupt about buying a bunch of blokes around of drinks?
It depends.
Let me put it another way. Did you have an ulterior motive in buying us all a drink?
Yes, I wanted to get picked for every game.
And do you think that your strategy worked?
Yes,
And that by implication, we're all bent?
evidently.
Thank you, my lord. No further questions. How did I do?
The prosecution wishes to call one further witness in this case. The prosecution calls Keith Smith. Are you Keith Smith?
I am.
Are you a member of the selection committee?
I am.
The prosecution rests.
Have you ever been to a selection meeting?
No. Have you?
No.
Have you ever picked a side?
I once got 8. What's your best?
7. Has Paul ever bought you a drink?
Yeah, on tour. How about you?
Yeah, on tour.
Have you got the subs for the Longston game?
Didn't pick any subs for the Longston game. No further questions. I want my lunch.
The prosecution will now sum up.
So, to sum up. This, sorry, I hesitate to use the term selection of individuals you see before you in the dock. Individuals in whom, however reprobate their conduct has been, the responsibility for so much personal and club success ultimately rests, have acquitted themselves in so deplorable a fashion over the season that they have had the eye of scrutiny turned upon them by an ironic reversal of fortune, and find themselves here today, brought to book at last and charged with the aforementioned indictments of gross negligence, corruption, dereliction of duty, and rank incompetence. You have heard the evidence. It has been widely corroborated, and in my frank opinion, no adequate rebuttal has even been offered by the defence. Merely an arrogant dismissal of the facts, totally consistent with the attitude which characterises all of their dealings. The tone of their defence has been dismissive and overbearing. Indeed, they seem to regard themselves as being essentially above the law, and therefore immune from any sense of accountability. But they are not. Retribution is at hand. It lies in your hands. I ask you to bring retribution down on their heads and flatten this frank abomination of a selection committee. You must find them guilty on all charges. Thank you.
This will now sum up.
Right, well, what he's just said is a load of old cobblers, because we know what we're doing and we're not incompetent or incorruptible. And anyway, I wouldn't pick him even if we were down to 9 men against Parkhead, even if he paid me. So he can get stuffed, and so can you if you find us guilty, because we're not. And even if we were, we wouldn't give a toss, see?
Of the jury, you've heard the evidence both from the prosecution and the defence, and now it's time for you to make up your minds.
Jack's here.
Now then. Silence for Jack. You'll excuse me, Judge. I don't like to challenge an umpire in normal circumstances, but I must say, I reckon this thing needs knocking on the head before somebody says or does something daft. Now, it's time for Jack's expenditure here, John. Sorry, old son, I know you don't tell me how to set a field, but I reckon there's been a few too many bouncers bowled in this court today, and it's time for me to cry, no ball. Aye. Now, you lot. Button this and pin these back. I ask you now, how can you single these tossers out from all the rest of them over the years? Let's just cast our minds back. Gross negligence. What about 40 men turning up at Eam, all selected and notified? What about letting Chris Morton organise a tour to India? What about letting Pete Pratt bowl the last over at Carver? What about turning a blind eye to Mick Claridge's exposing himself year after year in front of the younger members? Incompetence? What about opening the batting with Joe O'Grady and Bob West? What about Barry Roberts buying teas from the off-licence at Door? What about picking Martin Anderson and Andy Bartles at all? What about selecting Gus Kennedy as a bat? What about Barry Roberts? Dereliction of duty. What about letting Tom Wainwright captain the second team for so long? What about telling John Dixon, who was a tour in Japan, 3 years on the trot? What about letting Oggers be an umpire? And as for corruption, well, what about Andy Kennedy bribing his way into opening the batting? What about bribing Bert Brennan to go and play for Hundall? What about allowing Pete James to play in exchange for his financial services? What about Pete Wright's dodgy transfers to collegiate and back? I tell you now, it's so bad and it's gone back so many years that if you find this lot guilty, you'll have to hang the whole lot of them since 1950. Aye.